Let me tell you about Jack. He was 71, a retired schoolteacher from a small town in Ohio, a guy who'd spent his life coaching Little League and fixing up his old Chevy. After his wife passed, he threw himself into his routines: coffee at the diner, Sunday church, the occasional fishing trip. Then he met Sarah at a local book club. She had a warm laugh and a way of making him feel seen, like he was still the man he'd been decades ago. One evening, over a glass of wine, things turned intimate. Jack wanted it to be perfect like the old days, but his body didn't cooperate. He froze, mumbled an excuse, and left her place humiliated. He never called her again, not because he didn't care, but because he felt broken, like he'd lost something essential. That night, Jack sat alone in his recliner, staring at the TV, wondering if his best years were gone for good. I'm Dr. Robert Hayes, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond reclaim their confidence, rebuild intimacy, and protect their health in ways they never imagined. Most guys think their sex life just fades with age, that once you hit a certain number, the game's over and you're supposed to quietly accept it. But here's the truth: it doesn't have to end. What's really holding you back isn't your birth year. It's what you were never taught, the myths you've carried, and the silence you've let grow. Today, I'm going to share 5 powerful secrets that older men wish they'd known decades ago, and the heavy price they've paid for staying in the dark. If this kind of honest, life-changing advice speaks to you, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a video made just for men like you. And let me know you're here. Type 1 in the comments if this resonates, or 0 if it doesn't. I'm here to serve you, and your feedback helps me do that better. Now, let's get started, because these truths could change everything. Secret 1: spontaneity isn't your friend anymore. And that's not a failure, it's wisdom. Remember your 20s or 30s? Intimacy was effortless. A glance across the room, a late-night drive, and you were ready. No planning, no second thoughts. It was exciting, wasn't it? That feeling of being able to rise to the occasion, no questions asked. It felt like part of who you were as a man. But here's the reality no one prepares you for. After 60, expecting that same spontaneity is like expecting to bench press your old max without a warm-up. It's not just unrealistic, it's setting yourself up for frustration, embarrassment, and even danger. I had a patient, Mike, a 67-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan. Mike was a tough guy, still tinkered with cars in his garage, still had that spark in his eye. He'd started seeing a woman, Ellen, after years of being alone. One night, they were getting close, and Mike thought it would be like the old days, spontaneous, electric. But when the moment came, nothing happened. His body didn't respond. He panicked, made a joke to cover it up, and left her apartment feeling like he'd let her down. Worse, he felt like he'd let himself down. "I thought I still had it, Doc," he told me, his voice low, eyes on the floor. That one night crushed him. He stopped calling Ellen, not because he didn't like her, but because he was too ashamed to face her again. Here's what Mike didn't know: your body changes with age, and that's not a flaw, it's biology. Testosterone levels drop, blood flow slows, and things like stress, medications, or even a heavy meal can throw you off. Clinging to the idea that intimacy should just happen like it did at 25 is a recipe for disappointment. It's not about being less of a man, it's about understanding that your body now needs a different approach. Spontaneity was great when your biology was on autopilot, but after 60, intimacy thrives on intention, communication, and preparation. Planning doesn't kill the magic, it protects it. It means taking care of yourself, eating lighter that day, managing stress, checking if your blood pressure meds might interfere. It means talking to your partner, setting the mood, and giving yourself permission to take it slow. When you let go of the pressure to perform on demand, you create space for something deeper, a connection that's not just physical, but emotional, even spiritual. I've seen men transform their relationships by embracing this shift. They're not chasing a fleeting spark, they're building something lasting. But ignore this truth, and the cost can be steep. I'm not just talking about a bruised ego or Anne Brantley a bad night. I've seen men push their bodies too hard, chasing that old spontaneity, and end up in the ER, or worse. I've counseled partners who lost their husbands during intimacy because they didn't respect their body's new limits. One patient, a 70-year-old named George, mixed an over-the-counter enhancement pill with his heart medication, thinking it would fix him. He ended up with a stroke that left him paralyzed on one side. His wife sat in my office, tears in her eyes, saying he just wanted to feel young again. These aren't just mistakes. They're tragedies, and they're preventable. Intimacy after 60 is like running a 5K, not a sprint. Respect your body, pace yourself, and you'll stay in the game. That's not weakness, it's strength. Secret 2. Your erection is your heart's early warning system. Let's talk about something most guys don't want to admit. If you're over 60 and noticing changes in your ability to get or keep an erection, it's not just a bedroom issue. It's a signal. It could be about your heart. Too many men brush it off, laugh it away, or buy a sketchy pill from a gas station, thinking it's just age. But here's the truth. Your erection is a cardiovascular event, one of the most sensitive indicators of blood flow in your body. If that flow's slowing down, it's not just about your sex life, it's about your survival. I had a patient, Dave, a 65-year-old from Pennsylvania. Dave was a contractor, still climbed ladders, still grilled steaks for his grandkids on weekends. He came to me because things weren't working like they used to with his wife. Guess I'm just old. Huh, doc, he said with a grin. But I didn't smile back. I asked about his health, ran some tests, and something fell off. I sent him for a cardiac workup. 3 weeks later, Dave was in surgery for a 90% blockage in a major artery, the kind they call the widowmaker. He called me from his hospital bed, voice shaky. I came in for a sex problem. Document. You saved my life. Here's what most men don't realize. The arteries in your penis are smaller than the ones in your heart. If blood's not flowing freely there, it's a red flag that your bigger arteries feeding your heart, your brain, might be narrowing too. Erectile dysfunction is often the first sign of cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, or diabetes. It's your body's way of whispering, get help, ignore it, and that whisper can become a scream. I've seen men dismiss it, thinking it's just stress or age, while walking around with a heart ready to give out. I've sat with widows who lost their husbands to heart attacks that could have been prevented. One patient, Carl, ignored his symptoms for years, popping pills to fix things. He had a stroke in his sleep, leaving his family shattered. The tragedy isn't just the loss, it's that it didn't have to happen. One honest conversation, one blood test, one doctor's visit can catch problems early. I've had men in their 70s tell me they feel like they're 45 again, not because of magic, but because they acted before it was too late. So if you're noticing changes, don't hide it. Don't joke it away. Get your heart checked. Talk to your doctor about your meds, your lifestyle, your stress. It's not about shame. It's about staying alive for your wife, your kids, your grandkids. One awkward visit today could mean a decade more of barbecues, fishing trips, and quiet nights with the one you love. Secret 3. Intimacy is emotional medicine, and you need it more than ever. Think back to a moment when you felt truly connected. Maybe it was lying in bed with your wife, her hand on your chest, talking about nothing and everything. Or a time when a hug from someone you love made the world feel right again. Those moments are rare, especially as we get older, but they're not just nice, they're essential. Intimacy after 60 isn't just about your body. It's about your heart, your mind, your soul. And when you lose that connection, the cost is bigger than you think. I met a man named Henry, 74, from Florida. Henry was a widower, a former accountant who'd always been the steady one in his family. After his wife died, he kept busy, golf, volunteering, fixing up his condo. But he came to me because he felt numb. I don't care about sex, he said, but I miss feeling something. His blood pressure was up, he wasn't sleeping, and his doctor couldn't figure out why meds weren't helping. Henry wasn't just grieving. He was starving for connection. That loneliness was eating him alive, and it was showing up in his health. Here's what most men don't know. Physical closeness, whether it's sex, a hug, or even a pat on the back, releases oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. These aren't just feel-good chemicals. They lower your stress, boost your immune system, help you sleep, and protect your heart. When you cut yourself off from that, You're not just lonely, you're depriving your body of medicine it needs to thrive. I've seen men age faster not because of years, but because they had no one to hold, no one to laugh with, no one to make them feel human. Too many guys convince themselves that needing closeness is weak, that affection is for the young. They shut down, avoid touch, and go silent. But that silence has a price. Depression, higher cortisol, weaker immunity, even early cognitive decline. I had a patient, Ed, 72, who hadn't hugged anyone in years. His memory was slipping, his energy gone. We got him into a community group, encouraged him to open up, and within months, he was sharper, happier, healthier. Not because of pills, but because he let himself connect again. The good news? It's never too late. You don't need a partner to find this medicine. It can come from a friend's handshake, a conversation with your kids, or even self-acceptance, learning to be kind to yourself. But it starts with courage, the courage to admit you need closeness, to reach out, to let yourself feel. I've seen men in their 80s light up again, not because they're chasing youth, but because they're chasing connection. Whether it's rekindling things with your spouse, joining a club, or just holding your grandkid a little longer, that human warmth is worth fighting for. It's not just about feeling good, it's about staying alive. Secret 4. Porn is robbing you of real connection. Let's talk about something guys don't bring up at the bar or the golf course, but almost every man deals with. When intimacy gets tricky, slower arousal, performance issues, lots of men turn to an easy fix, pornography. It's quick, private, and feels like no big deal. You tell yourself it's just a way to take the edge off, especially if you're single or things aren't clicking with your partner. But here's the truth. Porn isn't just a harmless escape. It's one of the biggest silent destroyers of confidence, satisfaction, and real intimacy I've ever seen. I had a patient, Steve, 70, from Colorado. Steve was a retired park ranger, married for 40 years, but he and his wife hadn't been intimate in nearly a decade. He started watching porn, first occasionally, then every night. What began as curiosity became a crutch. He'd sit in his den, scrolling through videos, chasing a rush that never lasted. Over time, he started comparing his wife to what he saw online, her body, her energy, her sounds. Real intimacy felt boring, even frustrating. Eventually, he couldn't get aroused without a screen. I thought it was just age, he told me, his voice heavy with guilt. But I don't even know who I am anymore. Porn rewires your brain. It trains you to crave constant novelty, perfect bodies, and zero emotional effort. Real intimacy, messy, human, imperfect, can't compete with that artificial high. Your dopamine pathways shift, and soon, touch alone isn't enough. Some guys can't climax without a video playing. Others lose interest altogether or struggle with delayed arousal or erectile dysfunction. But the worst damage isn't physical, it's emotional. You start to feel empty after every session, wondering why you're not satisfied. You question your desire, your worth, your manhood. That quiet shame builds, and it pulls you away from your partner, your body, yourself. I've seen marriages unravel, not from affairs or illness, but from years of digital disconnection. Men grow distant, hiding their habits, thinking they're alone in their struggle. I had a patient, Ron, 68, whose wife found his browser history. It wasn't the porn that broke her heart. It was the years of silence, the way he'd chosen a screen over her. But you're not alone, and you can break free. It starts with honesty, maybe with a therapist, a support group, or your partner. Cut back, even if it's hard. Rediscover real touch, real presence. It takes time, but your brain can reset. I've seen men go from feeling trapped to feeling alive again. Not because they fixed their performance, but because they chose real connection over fantasy. What's waiting is worth it. Arousal that feels natural, confidence that isn't tied to a screen, and intimacy that leaves you full, not empty. Secret 5. The most dangerous time to have sex is when you're trying to prove something. There's a moment that sneaks up on a lot of older guys, and it's not when they're feeling weak, it's when they're feeling strong. Maybe you got a clean bill of health at your last checkup, or a coworker said, "Man, you don't look a day over 50." Maybe a new romance has you feeling like you're 30 again, full of fire and ready to show the world you've still got it. In that moment, pride takes over. You want to prove you're still the man you were. Hard, fast, unstoppable. You skip your meds, have a few extra beers, maybe pop a pill you bought online, and step into the bedroom like it's a stage. That's when things go wrong, sometimes catastrophically. I'll never forget Bill, 73, from Arizona. Bill was a charmer, a retired salesman who could still light up a room. He'd started dating a younger woman, Lisa, who made him feel alive. One night, he wanted to show her what he was made of. He ignored my warnings about his heart condition, skipped his beta blockers, and took an enhancement pill he'd ordered off the internet. Halfway through, he collapsed, cardiac arrest. Lisa called 911, but by the time help arrived, Bill was gone. His daughter sat in my office later, sobbing. He was so happy that night, she said. Why didn't he listen? Bill didn't die because he wasn't a man. He died because he didn't respect what his body needed. Sex after 60 is a full-body event. Your heart rate climbs, your blood pressure spikes, your breathing gets heavy. It's like jogging a mile, maybe more. If you're not prepared, if you're pushing past your limits, it's not just a bad night. It's a cliff. I've seen men end up in the ER with heart attacks, strokes, or dangerous drops in blood pressure because they treated intimacy like a performance. I've sat with widows who lost their husbands to one last hurrah. That didn't need to happen. One patient, Fred, 71, mixed alcohol, Viagra, and his heart meds. He survived his heart attack, but the damage left him in a wheelchair, his confidence shattered, his relationship with his wife strained. The mistake isn't wanting intimacy. It's letting ego drown out wisdom. You don't need to prove anything. Your worth isn't in how hard you go or how long you last. It's in showing up, being present, connecting with your partner. Slow down. Check with your doctor. Know your meds, your limits, your heart. If you feel that urge to perform, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this about love or is it about fear? Because in that moment, your choice matters. You can choose pressure and risk everything, or you can choose presence and build something real, something that lasts. Conclusion: your best years are still ahead, if you choose them. You just heard 5 truths that could rewrite your story. These aren't just tips. They're turning points, quiet moments of wisdom that separate the men who age with strength, love, and vitality from those who fade into silence, disconnection, and regret. Aging isn't the enemy. Shame is. Fear is. The belief that you're too old to matter is. But you're not too old. You're not broken. You're here. And that means you've got a chance to live differently, to live fully. Let's look back. First, we debunked the myth of spontaneity. Intimacy after 60 thrives on intention, not impulse. Planning isn't unromantic, it's powerful. Second, your erection is your heart's messenger. If it's faltering, don't hide it, get checked. It could save your life. Third, intimacy is emotional medicine. Connection heals, grounds, and keeps you alive. Don't starve yourself of it. Fourth, porn can steal your confidence and your ability to feel real love. You're stronger than that habit. Choose reality. And fifth, the most dangerous moment is when you're trying to prove you're still young. Let go of pride, embrace presence, and stay in the game. If any of this stirred something in you, if it made you reflect, feel seen, or even a little uncomfortable, don't walk away unchanged. You saw yourself in Jack, Mike, Dave, Henry, Steve, or Bill. You felt that shame, that loneliness, that fear of being past it, but you're not. Your body's changing, not betraying you. Your heart, your love, your story, they still matter. Maybe more than ever. So here's my challenge to you. Don't let this moment pass. Talk to your partner. Really talk, not just small talk. Call your doctor and make that appointment. Get your heart checked, your meds reviewed, your health on track. Join a group, call a friend, hug your grandkids a little tighter. Stop telling yourself that intimacy, connection, or joy are for younger men. They're for you, right now, if you're brave enough to reach for them. I've seen men in their 80s light up a room because they chose to live, not just survive. I've seen marriages reborn because one honest conversation broke the silence. I've seen men go from feeling invisible to feeling unstoppable, not because they turned back time, but because they embraced the man they are today. That can be you, but it starts with a choice. The choice to stop hiding, stop settling, and start living again. If this spoke to you, type 1 in the comments. Let me know you're here, ready to take that next step. If it didn't, type 0. I want to know how I can help you better. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and tap the bell. I'm here to share real talk for real men, because you deserve more than silence. You deserve to thrive. Your next chapter starts now. Make it count.